What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Once again, I'm Nev from Nev's Tech Bits. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Amazon games. That's right, folks. There's actually an Amazon game store, and everything is free within here, for now at least. Things might change in the future, but ultimately, if you have Amazon Prime, you know you have Amazon Music. You know that you have the Amazon, well, Prime for TV, basically, and you also have basically a bit of a Steam knockoff. There's not a whole lot of games in this, but some of them are pretty good. It looks like they've got a good chunk of the catalog from SNK, and SNK definitely has some good games. So yeah, it's definitely safe to say that there's not a lot of games on this, but there are a lot of good SNK games, and I really like SNK games. We got the old anniversary version, I'll show you that later, but I want to get right into the King of Fighters. King of Fighters 97, 98. Geez, I think we even have King of Fighters, yeah, 2000 in this. King of Fighters, very good, and all for one reason, my favorite character. Bet you can't tell who it is. I mean, no way you could tell. Actually, I prefer just watching this just for the background. Just for the background stuff. Lots going on in the background back there, huh? So I got 3 different versions of King of Fighters downloaded. I got 95, 97, 98, and then 2002. There's definitely changes that have been made between the 3 of them. You can't exactly call this a Street Fighter knockoff, though. Everything's a lot different in it. It's hard to make a good fighting game without being accused of ripping off Street Fighter 2. But this adds maximum attacks. This adds a 3-way game. Now, of course, we got Metal Slug. You can't talk SNK without talking Metal Slug. This one is a real quarter muncher. And man, is it a classic. You gotta love the classics. It seems like part 2 and 3 is on here, but I can't find part 1. Not sure what's up with that. Anyways, let's take a look at the classics now. They've been known to make excellent arcade games and excellent ports of arcade games. Anyways, let's just jump into this. First off, I'm going to jump into the 40th anniversary of the SNK video games, the 40th anniversary collection. We got all kinds of games in here, and I gotta say, we got some really good art on a lot of this stuff too. Man, back in the day, you'd have to keep popping those quarters into the quarter machine in order to play some of these games, but today, here, we can play it for free. All you need is Amazon Prime, and then you get all of these old arcade games. Most of them, I admit, I have never heard of before. But let's go down the list, shall we? First off, we have Alpha Mission. This is a pretty nice top-down space shoot-'em-up. Second up, we got Athena with my ex-girlfriend there. Basically, you're a bubble guppy on a mission of vengeance, I guess. Beast Busters is number 3. I gotta say, they got some good art on this stuff. The game seems interesting too. Definitely seems like a good arcade port. Actually, no, these aren't ports. These are arcade games, basically. We got Bermuda Triangle. It's another space shoot-'em-up. Get to the chopper! And guess what? It's another shoot-'em-up. And Chrysalis, once again, man, that art. Basically, you get to run around in fields and hit things with your sword. Next up is Fantasy. You can tell they definitely got a new artist for this one. Definitely pretty interesting, though. I mean, this must have been stuff that was bigger in Asia than it was in North America, or at least in my area. Guerrilla Wars, which is about Fidel Castro smoking a cigar, I suppose. Next up, we have Akari Warriors. You might remember Akari Warriors from a particular episode of The Angry Video Game Nerd. It was almost impossible for him to get past a certain point in the Nintendo port, unless you hit ABBA, and that's the only way you can get through it. But man, this looks so much better. This arcade emulation looks so much better than that Nintendo port, like you would think it would. We got Akari Warriors 2, this time bigger, badder, with swords. Look at that, he keeps the sword out front, and then he whacks away the enemies, and incoming explosives are just turned away immediately. How could you get any better than that? Frickin' long golden sword. That's what I'm talking about. That's what the ladies like. Makes their knees weak. Akari 3, not seeing no sword on the cover this time. But man, definitely looks like things have increased a little bit. I don't think Akari 2 and 3 ever came out on the NES. But man, this looks like the kind of thing, if it did come out, it would come out on the Genesis. This looks very Genesis, and I'm pretty sure the Genesis was originally. Yeah, Sega used to like to be arcade ports, true arcade ports. Iron Tank, of course, you get to pilot a tank around and shoot at your other tank folks. So these are very simple games, but another interesting thing is these are all arcade ports. All of us are used to playing Nintendo ports on emulations or Nintendo games themselves, but these are direct arcade ports. And this one, MUNCH Mobile, I'm just kind of amazed if anyone would actually put a quarter into this thing other than just to try it out one time. Look at this, you're just dodging stuff. You're just dodging stuff. Zama Wars. Once again, never heard of this, but it looks like a top-down space shooter. This looks like the kind of thing I could play. This must have been a super early one. I think, yeah, this was one of the first ones they released. I believe this was in black and white, and the only way that they could get the colors to change was to overlay some colors onto it. Paddlemania. This is where you cook muffins for King John Il. But seriously, check this out. You're playing, what is it, table tennis? Tennis against swimmers? What's going on here? This is just crazy enough that I think I absolutely love it immediately, and I definitely need to play a lot of it. Yep. Anyways, Prisoner of War, POW. So this is an Asian game, but that prisoner seems to be American, while the others definitely look like they are Asian. So that's interesting coming from an Asian country. Yep, so it's basically a 2D side-scrolling beat 'em up, just like Double Dragon. I'm pretty sure Double Dragon was actually a arcade game. I never knew that. I always played it in Nintendo form. Okay, best box art right here. Prehistoric Isle. 2D side scrolling, shoot 'em up. Good stuff. Good. So what can you say about this? I love the stuff that gets. I love the stuff that actually gets released as it was in arcade. Punch Out. That was another one that was originally directly on arcade. Nobody's played that. Psycho Soldier. This is some interesting box art. Check that out. And meanwhile, apparently, what it is you get to be a dragon and you fly around breathing fire. No, that's got to be a power up or something like that. That's got to be a power. I've played some of these games. I have not played all of them, but this definitely looks like a good one to play when you're on hallucinogens. Star, Search, and Rescue. You get to go around and you get to shoot up aliens. Not aliens is basically what they should call this game. Not aliens, not even a little bit. I can't believe I never played any of these games in arcade, because they totally look like the kinds of games that I would have played in the mid and late 90s. Okay, this is an interesting game. This is a bit intriguing. You're a good guy on the bottom, and ninjas come from the top, and you have to hit them with your shurikens and stuff. But the thing is, you don't want to miss them, but it looks like if they fall all the way, they're not like, haha, I've successfully made it to the ground. They look like they hit the ground. It's fun. It's fun, I gotta say. It's something else. Street Smart. Not a knockoff at all of Street Fighter. 2D, side-scrolling, one-on-one fighter, though. Not bad. You can't blame them for trying. You definitely can't blame them. Next up, Time Soldiers. I do remember the box art on this. Seriously, interesting graphics from a time when everyone was probably playing NES, but the arcades definitely had all of the power. And all of these games, once again, are free on the Amazon store. Here's a tank game. Once again, did not play. If anyone of my viewers has ever actually played this in North America, I would love to know. Apparently, this has been released in North America. I knew the arcade systems around where I was, and I never seen most of these. But as I grew older, I learned that SNK was definitely a good brand. They made King of Fighters, which you can also get free. Another game you can get. Right now, I'm just showing you the oldest stuff that they have. Last but not least, we got World Wars. It's a top-down space shooter. Anyways, SNK came to the market in Japan with a special system that you only had to change out a cartridge to get this system to work. You can also go down to the museum. But after a certain point of time, they had these consoles, or these arcade systems, that you just had to change a cartridge on the inside with. And that saves so much money, so much floor space. And in Japan, floor space definitely comes at a premium. There are a lot of arcades in Japan. Not as many as there used to be. I think the main Sega arcade place closed down, and Sega good in arcade, definitely. So that's enough about some of this older stuff that we got. Let's take a look at some of the newer stuff we got too.